Hello and welcome back to How to Succeed in Your Next Job Interview. I'm Patrick Munoz.
And I'm Chris Schulte.
In this video, we'll be discussing how to get your interview back on track or how to turn off those negative voices. So you go into the interview and some question is asked of you and you think to yourself, after you've started giving the answer, oh my goodness, that's completely the wrong answer. I'm completely off track. This is terrible. They're thinking terribly of me. What happens if that happens to you? Well, the first thing, and this comes from my background as a voice and speech coach, as a former actor, breathe, breathe, breathe. Now, what does that mean? Do you take a big breath in? No, that then comes across as being horrified. Are you just going to stop everything and breathe? No, that's going to seem again like you have to really think. What it does mean is remember, take a breath. Let that breath come in so that it can slow you down, that you can regroup. Because the opposite of that is talking and talking and talking as a form of dealing with your anxiety. Rather, know that you're in a now, if you're stopping breathing because you feel nervous, you're in a fight or flight position. And the best way to calm down and to get out of that is to take a breath. And that way you can come to the end of a sentence and you feel in control and you feel centered. Part two, know that everything that comes out of your mouth is right. Chris, talk about that.
Well, I think I mentioned in one of the other videos that I worked with someone once who had not been successful in getting a residency. And when I asked her 16 times, she'd interviewed and she hadn't got it and not been matched. And so when I asked her, well, what do you think happened? She just got all tense and like this and said, because everything that comes out of my mouth is wrong. And I just found that I felt so sorry for her. And luckily what popped into my head was this phrase when I just told her, no, dear, everything that came out of your mouth is right. And that's really what we're saying. The people, you're not getting graded on every little answer. They're not going to have a red pen like I hope your English teacher did not have back in grade school, but they're not going to grade you on that. They are evaluating you as a person. And this person, you want to show yourself as Patrick has been saying, confident, in control, able to communicate, able to slow down. And so the little critical voice that says, oh my God, that was a terrible answer, we're not going to listen to that at all. We're not going to listen to it because the answer was fine.
By breathing, by accepting what you've said, you can avoid that little inner voice that's saying negative things. Which brings us to our third suggestion, which is know that our critical voice always makes things worse than they really are. Even more than that, they make things appear worse than they really are. So, Chris, what can we do with that?
Well, during an interview, let's say, for example, you suddenly notice that your interviewer maybe has a little frown on his or her face, or they turn away, or they don't look at you. And that critical voice in your head goes, oh, you've lost him. You lost him. It's all over with now. You might as well just get up and leave. And that happens all the time. They take a specific observation and they make a terrible decision and blow it all out of proportion. So no matter what happens, it's good to observe the interviewer. And maybe if their eyes do look away, then what I would do just is bring my answer to an end pretty soon. Maybe their mind has wandered or something. So I do use different signs from the interviewer to help me adjust my interview, my specific answers. But anytime a little voice that says, it's all over, we're done for, you might as well just leave now. Probably got a ticket waiting for you when you get to your car too. You've just got to say, get out of here, get out of here. I'm not interested in what you have to say.
Realize that the interview is for a set amount of time. You're going to be walking out of the interview or walking out of the online interview after a few minutes or time frame. And so you can take some solace in the idea that I'm going to give my best. I am just going to give my best. And I'm going to develop this mind frame that says to myself, oh, I'm identifying a negative thought and I'm going to try to let it go. Or I'm going to try to realize that that is probably not the truth. It's much better or not as bad as what it seems like to me. And you could even try this practice, which is to take that negative mind frame. Oh, he really doesn't like me. He really thinks that was a bad answer. And what if you were to say just the opposite? He really likes me. That was really a great answer I just gave. Why not show up for yourself as your best ally and advocate? And that way you leave the interview and whatever happens, happens. You've done your best. You've shown up for yourself as the best. So the three takeaways are: A, if the interview starts to go off track and your negative voices start to come up, A, realize that it's time to breathe easily. Just keep breathing so that you can slow down and be in your body and centered. Next is to realize that everything you say is good and right. And finally, know that whatever your negative voice is saying is making things appear much worse and probably false from what they really are. We hope these pointers help you out in your next interview. We look forward to seeing you for our next video.